Hey, how's it going, everybody? Since time immemorial, Android phone manufacturers have been tweaking and customizing Android. Samsung has their TouchWiz user interface, Oppo has Color OS, Xiaomi has MIUI, and now Vivo, this Chinese phone manufacturer that I recently discovered, has something called Funtouch OS. I had to change my dad's phone yesterday because something was happening to his Xiaomi, so we got this. It's pretty good. However, there are a few unusual things about Funtouch OS that people who aren't used to it may have I wouldn't say it's a hard time adjusting to, but they may just have a hard time finding certain things, so I thought I'd just point out a few of those unusual things. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. The phone I'm going to be using for today's video is the Vivo V3. It's pretty cool. It comes with a fingerprint sensor. So as you can see, the screen is off. I'm not going to be touching the power button. Just going to tap lightly with my finger and you're signed in. The first unusual thing about this phone, when you're going to access the SIM card data, usually in normal Android phones, it shows up as an app called the Sim Toolkit. So you press it and then all the things that's normally in the menu of your SIM card shows up. However, in the Funtouch OS, it's not like that. It took me a while to look for it, but I eventually found it here. By the way, if you're wondering why the launcher does not look like a typical Funtouch OS launcher, it's because I changed the launcher to Nova because the original launcher confuses me, but that's fine because this video is about unusual things about Funtouch OS. The launcher itself is not unusual because it's the first thing you're going to see when you turn on your phone, right? So no need to make a little video about that. So anyway, I'm going to click on settings and I'm going to show you how to find the SIM card menu. Click phone, click call settings, and now both the SIM cards, this is a dual SIM phone. It comes with micro and nano SIM. So both your SIM cards are here. When you click STK, see STK, then that's gonna be the menu of the first SIM. So if you select this SIM, that's gonna be the second SIM. You've selected the second SIM. You're gonna click STK. There you go. That's the menu of the second SIM. So in most Android phones that are not heavily customized, the security setting here in settings will allow you to access more submenus for security, and one of them will be owner info. Here, owner info, or a lock screen message. Sometimes it says, this one is stock Android though, so it says lock screen message. This one says owner info. Basically, it allows you to show some data about yourself on the lock screen. It just scrolls as text over the picture you use for your lock screen menu. And then if your phone is lost, like here, it scrolls here, email wherever, or call whatever number if your phone is found. I always do that. I've always been doing that for all my Android devices ever since that feature, came to it. But for some reason, for the Funtouch OS, I cannot, for the life of me, find where to see it. So I clicked settings and then security. I don't see anything that will allow me to put stuff on the lock screen, like to put words in the lock screen. There's also settings for changing the wallpaper of the lock screen. Oh, it's not here. Where is it? Oh, here, wallpaper and fonts, but I don't see it. It's just not there. So I don't know. Just letting you know that Funtouch OS, as far as I know, for this particular version I have, it does not allow you to put your own information in the lock screen, but just in case your phone was found, if you dropped it somewhere, right? Another thing about this phone, I cannot find the setting for adjusting the font size to make the font size larger. I looked at the Vivo forums, and someone in the Vivo forum suggested downloading a larger font, but that's not a solution. It just means the font is larger, but the actual solution would be using your normal font, and you can just adjust it as you wish, right? So, well, that's one unusual thing. If you could find where to adjust the font settings, let me know in the comments. So normally with Android phones, there's this little square here. Sometimes, depending on the phone, if it doesn't follow the actual Android rules, sometimes they move the recent apps button here. But it's still the same thing. You click it, and then your recently used apps are all here. You can use it to switch between apps, or you can use it to close an app or switch between apps. So the same thing for this. If you want to switch between apps, you click this. So this one is a capacitive home button. It shows up in the bezel instead of this one that showed up on the home screen itself. So you could use it to switch between apps, right? It's like task switcher. So yeah, pretty good. However, for the Funtouch OS of Vivo, it's different. Yeah, so this is their recent app buttons. It's combined with the shortcut menu for Wi-Fi and all that stuff of normal Android. So normal Android is you have to drag it down, right? From the top, the notification shade, and then you see all these shortcuts for Wi-Fi, you know, or the do not disturb, stuff like that. And lower, you're gonna see like your notifications for texts and stuff. So for Funtouch OS, your notifications are still in the shade up there, but you have to swipe from bottom basically. These are your recently used apps, so you can swipe up to close it. And double duty, this little window that you swipe up to access will also show you these shortcuts, the same shortcuts that in other Android phones you drag down to be able to access. So here you go, like Wi-Fi, flashlight, stuff like that. So it took me a while to find where to find the recently used apps, because when I swiped up, right, I saw it, but then I kind of like, my eyes were just kind of glazed and I did not see all these icons here. I just saw that, okay, the shortcuts are here. It took me a while to figure out, oh, hey, yeah, these are my recently used apps. At first I thought they were like just random shortcuts. Lastly, this Funtouch OS, at least the version that came with the Vivo V3 by default, has a few, how do I put it, slightly unpolished menu text in it. For example, this one says, when you are dialing or sending message by third-party software without SIM selection, this menu will be at work. So it's kind of, there's a lot of examples of that, like grammatically correct but very clunkily put together English sentences. So, well, can't really expect much. It's a pretty cheap phone, and you know, most of it is pretty decent. So this isn't really a complaint, just like pointing it out. Like it's got some pretty clunky English sentence construction. I also wanted to show you like the default launcher. So the Vivo comes with this little app called iManager, and you click it to see App Manager. So default apps. So this menu will let you choose the default apps you use for what, you know, for example, like for keyboard, you want SwiftKey keyboard or whatever. So for default desktop, I was using Nova Launcher. Let's go back to its default launcher, which is this BBK launcher. And this is the menu that, sorry, this is the launcher that came with. As you notice, like the icons are just like huge, takes up a lot of space, and there's no app drawer. Basically, the desktop shows all the apps you have. But it kind of, this method of, I'm really not used to using Android this way. I've always used it the way Android's traditionally used. So, which is basically you got a home screen, a launcher, and then you got an app drawer. Actually, this is also Nova Launcher. This phone I'm using now, the Flash Plus 2, I made a video on it a couple weeks ago. But even without the Nova Launcher, it still has an app drawer. It still has like a desktop and an app drawer. I just use Nova so that I could easily migrate all my settings and shortcuts to the same place. However, for this one, it looks like this. If you like it as is, then you don't have to change anything. And with this one, if you click this menu button, then it shows you all these things. So, yeah. Where you can customize the home screen. But I don't really like using this, so I'm gonna switch it back to Vivo apps, iManager, default desktop. Let us go back to Nova Launcher. And there you go. We're going back to Nova Launcher. One good thing that about Nova Launcher is that if you change phones, all you have to do is back up your Nova Launcher settings. That means all your shortcuts, the locations where they're at, all the widgets, they're going to be backed up into this configuration file. It's a very small file. You transfer it to your new phone, then you download the same apps that you had for your old phone, and your home screen will be arranged just the way it was arranged in your old phone. For someone like me who wants phones to be set up almost similar to their previous phone, this is pretty good. Well guys, that's it. Thanks a lot for watching my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.